This is the Weekend Wake Up with Darren de Mello on 882 6PR.
24 to 7 now. 922 111 882, our talkback line. It's always open if you want to join us. Maybe you want to talk about your experiences with roller coasters. They've, well, for many, long been the destination, if you're a thrill seeker especially. Always trying to find the next big buzz, thrill, experience. Well, now it seems like they could be evolving thanks to technology. And to talk, you might have seen stories sort of hinting at this in the press over the last week or so. I thought we'd have to follow it up. On the line is someone eminently qualified to talk about it. Calls himself an amusement academic from Queensland University of Technology. Malcolm Burt, good morning.
Good morning.
Did you make that up?
Yes.
I was going to say, not many people would dub you. You are our amusement academic. It'd be difficult to justify that to the board if, you're trying to go. There's a new position. Amusement academic is what we're deciding to go with. So,
well, I mean, I think you've got to sort of identify exactly what I'm doing, and really, it's kind of what I do. I mean, I focus on amusements, like commodified thrill rides and amusement parks, so it kind of makes sense, and it sounds kind of catchy, so I went with it.
Fair enough. Does anyone else do this, or is this kind of your territory that no one else kind of invades?
There doesn't seem to be many in Australia, but there are other people overseas that, that are pursuing doctorates or have them in sort of related fields. But it's unusual that in Australia I get a lot of people and businesses sort of saying, oh, isn't that kooky? Whereas overseas, people just go, how do we make money from this? Come on, just tell us what you got. How do we make money? So it's kind of a different experience. So
now tell me, you travel the world. How long have you been doing it, by the way?
I've been. When did I start? I think I started the Masters, which was seeking to find out why roller coasters exist. And It's a very interesting outcome.
That was your thesis, was it?
That was the original thesis. Now I'm doing a PhD. I think it was in 2012 or something. So it's been a couple of years.
Okay, it's been a reasonable way to keep you occupied by the sound of it. Travelling the world, looking into the psychological, sociological, and other kind of things that surround amusement rides.
Right. I mean, and initially, again, when you mention to people what you do, they're kind of like, well, that's stupid. But then you explain it, and there's kind of two angles. So the first angle is the fact that we have thrill rides in modern society says a lot about us. The fact that we spend millions of dollars just to be amused. So it's millions of dollars to pay for them to be set up, and then the public spends millions of dollars going to actually ride them. And these rides exist solely to amuse us. And I think that says something interesting. And then the rides themselves, especially, I mean, it's the pointy end of the thrill rides that I'm particularly interested in, the really scary ones.
Yeah.
They pretend to be dangerous because if they didn't, we wouldn't bother to go on them because you couldn't boast to your friends and, buy the pictures and stuff afterwards.
You wouldn't get the adrenaline rush, would you?
Well, you wouldn't get the adrenaline rush either. But in actual fact, they're incredibly safe. So, I mean, first of all, the whole thing's pretend. We're pretending that we're doing something really challenging and dangerous, and they're all completely designed to facilitate that. But in actual fact, it's very safe. It's because we simply do not get the stimulation in modern society that we're used to. We're actually kind of bored, and we live in a pretty lazy consumer society. And I'm including myself in that. I'm not trying to act like I'm above it all. The second thing is, I mean, if people sort of, if that doesn't float their boat, the interesting sort of psychological and sociological outcomes, like I said before, it is a multi-billion-dollar industry. So actually just focusing on teensy-weensy little bits of that multi-billion-dollar industry like I'm doing, you can make more money.
I guess there's that side, but I guess a lot of people will be fascinated with what it is about being that little bit scared that that we have in most of us, if not all of us. There's a degree of being scared that we kind of need. Is that because you're saying we don't live in the kind of world that our bodies were made for?
Exactly. And I like to use the line that the world has changed enormously since the Industrial Revolution, but we haven't. We're still the same twitchy cavemen that we always were, but we now live in a very safe society, and we clearly are wired to need that thrill, to need that to stay primed, to stay on edge, and you just don't get that in normal everyday living safely. But the experiences that these rides give us, they prey on primal emotions, like primal fears, like dropping, being launched, being inverted.
Heights.
And all these things are highly unusual sensations that you don't get safely. So, I mean, you can't do a loop in a car safely. You can't, drop off a cliff.
I know people that have tried, but you're right, you can't do it.
Safely is the key word there.
That's right.
And so these experiences are commodified, and they're really neatly packaged for us. And they're also promoted as a thrill. So, I mean, we don't, and a challenge, so we don't We don't even need to think. Like if we go, I really need more of a challenge. Yeah, how can I be brave and challenge myself? Oh, there's that ad that I've seen 100 times for the new Super Dipper roller coaster.
I need a heart starter. That's the one. So
that's what I'll do. That's what I go down there and do it. So I mean, it's all kind of commodified. And then, like I said before, you buy the pictures. You tell your friends, well, you're a loser because you haven't gone on this ride, and I have. And then your friends have to do it. And that's how the whole system works.
Now I imagine, okay, they've gotten a little bit more interesting for the people that ride them, but technologically speaking, I guess until we got to the VR world, the roller coaster hadn't really changed too much from when they were first installed.
Oh, look, I mean, there's always been a lot of tech in the theme park industry, and roller coasters have gone from, I'm going to get all the details wrong here, but there was basically about a 130-foot ride, I think, in Luna Park.
If you get it wrong, no one else is going to check to know, so it's okay.
Hey, good point. There we go. It was about a 130-foot roller coaster in Luna Park, and then 10 years later, we had a 456 feet high, 0 to 240 kilometres an hour roller coaster. So the tech moves pretty quick, but now there's this VR overlay.
So what does that add to it? So whilst you're on a physical roller coaster, you wear a headset and you hear different sounds to enhance it?
Pretty much. I mean, the sort of the most basic implementation of VR in amusement parks is they're putting VR on existing rides. So like on drop rides, on roller coasters, on swinging ship rides, and that is what you said. You basically put a VR headset on, which is the bricks that people put on their faces, and in some cases you can hear, and not all of them, and you experience all the same launches and drops and turns and dips and accelerations of the ride, but you see something else. So
it amplifies it, I guess.
It does amplify it.
Have you tried it? Have you sat, with a VR unit on you on a roller coaster?
Oh yeah, all around the world. Sure.
Does it really kind of take it to the next level?
There's good and bad implementations. I mean, because although VR's been around for over 20 years, the latest peak, I suppose, everyone's trying to jump onto it, and some people are doing better than others. But the good implementations, you really do feel like you're going somewhere different. Like I went in Copenhagen on a quite cool existing roller coaster with 3 loops and lots of cool drops. But in the VR experience, you were in. This sounds weird. You're in a Chinese fireworks factory, and you were in the little bucket that all the fireworks were in, and you were going on this cable, and then all of a sudden this huge dragon and bear start attacking you, and by pulling the cable down, you're doing the drops of the ride, and by falling under bridges and things, you're doing a loop. So it was actually really beautifully executed, to be honest. And when you came back in, I was sort of surprised. Oh, yeah, that's right.
There's no bears around me.
Yeah. Exactly, which means it's success, because success one of the ways of defining success in VR is immersion. You actually feel like you went somewhere else.
Yeah, and it sounds like the good ones know how to do it. Are there places we can go and check it out in Australia, or is it not here yet?
No, it is here. Probably one of the best examples is on the Gold Coast. Movie World has the Arkham Asylum VR coaster. So it's the old Lethal Weapon, which became Arkham Asylum. It's a suspended coaster, and now you have the option of riding with a VR experience as well. It's really well implemented.
And it's not just so you can check your Facebook or something while you're on it. Like it's actually specifically to scare you a bit more.
Right. I mean, it's pretty locked down. There's nothing much you can do once you've actually started, but it just adds an extra element. And a lot of the people that I've been interviewing in parks around the world say, well, you know what, I've been on this ride so many times, and I saw that it had this VR experience. I wanted to try it again. So it does refresh older rides, as well as, there's completely created from scratch experiences in VR in parks as well.
I wonder how far it'll be before we see them at the Royal Show here.
Let's see.
We'll watch with interest. Thank you for whetting our appetites to a whole new world.
Thank you very much.
And all the best with your chosen career, your own named career. Well, that's what they tell us we have to do in this gig economy modern world. We have to create our own position. You've done it. Amusement academic.
Thank you.
Malcolm Burt, great to chat to you from Queensland's University of Technology. I think there'd be a few people that would like to be an amusement academic. I aim to be amusing occasionally and don't always succeed. 6:45.